Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video about, well, you could tell, a preliminary fall outlook or forecast, fall forecast 2020. These videos are always very liked by the community. It always seems that people have fun with these videos, though sometimes people take them a bit too seriously. So I just wanted to give a little disclaimer that this by no means is what will happen. You know, it's a prediction for a reason. It's called a prediction because it's a prediction. It's kind of like a guess. It's an educated guess, if you will. And I already made a first fall outlook video a couple weeks ago, except not many people saw that. And I mean, not really except, there's no except to that. Not many people saw that. And hopefully with today's update, more people will see this video as you know, people really seem to like this and maybe didn't get as many notifications and algorithm didn't push it out as much. There's a lot of, you know, it's a challenge algorithm. So consider subscribing if you guys like anything weather related. I do, you know, forecasts about storms, severe storms, winter storms, you know, fall forecasts like this, winter forecasts, long range forecasts, so all sorts of good stuff. It's a weather based channel. So if you've coming across this for the first time, please feel welcome. Subscribe if you want to. Obviously, if you don't do so. And if you're a returning viewer, if you would like the video, that would be amazing. So let's go through this one by one. So first off, what I want to really introduce to you guys, which is quite astonishing, is that we have a La Nina watch issued, and this has been issued as of the 9th of July, and I basically made this slideshow the 9th of July, and this is being recorded on the 10th of July. And notice, again, like I said, La Nina watch. This hasn't been issued before, you know, a week or two prior. And you can see that here's a synopsis. It's a little bit cut off, I apologize. But Enzo neutral is favored to continue through the summer. So the neutral pattern that is in shape will most likely continue, with a 50 to 55% chance of a La Nina development during the Northern Hemisphere fall 2020. And continuing through the winter 2021 chance. 2020-2021. So you can see that they have a La Nina watch, even though the chances are pretty split between a 50% La Nina and a 50% neutral, so it's not overly convincing, but it's definitely you know, they have a La Nina watch, and they have that for a reason. They don't issue that just based on even a slight possibility. It's, you know, they're saying, oh, a La Nina is possibly going to develop, so have your heads up. Now you may be wondering, why am I showing you this? Why is this important? Well, it's there's quite a bit of things that are correlated with the La Nina that impact our weather. First of all, I want to show you, though, the models and what they think about the La Nina possibility occurring. So notice we are right here. By the way, if you're wondering what a La Nina, the Enzo, is, it's a region of South America off the Peruvian coast, and it's basically the anomalies of that water, whether it's above the Pacific Ocean, whether it's above average or below average, or it's the same, you know, or within average of neutral. And if it's a 0.5 degrees above average, that water, then it's El Nino. If it's 0.5 degrees below average, it's La Nina. Now, yes, this doesn't seem like a lot, but the impacts brought by the water being slightly warmer, slightly cooler, or just being stagnantly normal are huge for especially parts of the U.S. and North America during the winter months. So notice that the models are showing a around a constant right now for the sea surface temperatures, but notice it goes down further. Some models, obviously, yes, there's some extremes, take it down way into a strong La Nina territory. Some take it up into El Nino territory, which is just not going to happen. Really, this is not going to happen, or this is going to happen. It's most likely what these three biggest lines are showing. This is based off the 3.4 SST models. And if, you know, this is only one opinion, but it's kind of like one opinion, a bunch of opinions, I guess, solidified into one opinion, but there's still more of those single opinions out there. There's still more of these model groups out there. There's not just one. Notice this model group is showing a balance between the La Nina and an Enzo. The blue one, for example, the CPC console, is showing a La Nina and then getting out of it by the time early spring. And then you can see these two are showing it as staying in a neutral. So, you know, they have a La Nina watch, and they're saying that even though some of the models of this group are showing a fight between La Nina and neutral, it seems like the odds are slowly starting to lean towards a La Nina. Okay, so this, I'm making a pretty big assumption here with this forecast that a La Nina will be occurring. Now, that's why there's going to be updates along the way. If, for example, a neutral does actually end up staying, and then I'll have to alter my forecast. So notice this is the CFS version 2 ensemble mean of the models, and you can see that the black dashed line is the average of all of them. And notice that it's here's the La Nina average, or here's where the La Nina starts. Look at that. The black line takes it way into La Nina territory and doesn't get it out of there until late spring. So this would be a classic neutral summer going into a La Nina winter. And you can see that this is in more of agreement on what the Climate Prediction Center thinks is going to happen. You can see many models are showing La Nina, only a few are showing a neutral, and not a single one is showing El Nino. So at this point, El Nino, I would say 95% chance is not going to happen. Very slim chances. And then now in terms of a neutral, there's still, again, like a 50-50, but it seems like slowly the La Nina is starting to get an edge over it. Now, the next forecasting piece I want to discuss is analogs. And analogs are basically what similar patterns that have occurred in the past and, that are comparable to the ongoing pattern or predicted ongoing or predicted pattern, and what were the historical outcomes. So for this, I looked at the historical El Nino and La Nina and neutral episodes, and you could see that this is only back to 2007, so it's not much of history really. Here is the big one where it's 1950, and it can be found on this link. This is a screenshot, so I can't click on this, but I did in order to do this research for this video, and I found years where we had similar setups. You may be wondering, what's that setup? Well, we had a neutral summer, which phased into a La Nina winter, which is what we have right now, a neutral summer, and we're predicted to go into a La Nina winter. Now, this is where things may go wrong for me, as I'm making a big assumption that the winter will be a La Nina. Now, if the winter does not turn out to be a La Nina, I'll have to make adjustments, or if the forecasts change in the future. But for now, I'm going off what's most likely going to happen. So, throughout all the way to 1960, I did research back. I found only a couple of years, I think it was 7 or 8 years, that had similar episodes. And basically what I did to start off the research was I took those summers, or I took that July really, of all those hot or all those neutral years, and I wanted to see if the July was going to be hot like this year, to see if there's any resemblance between that. This is what I got. July of all these years, which again, the July during these summers was neutral, the Enzo was neutral, and then the following year, or that following winter, was the La Nina. Look at the summer. July, much above average conditions across much of the U.S. and below possibly across the Northwest. And this is very similar to what we're having this year across this July. So if I were to pull up a composite in a few weeks, when July ends, it'll be very similar to this, as this is what's forecasted and this is what has been happening and is currently happening. So that's already a good sign of resemblance. Now, I move on to look at what those hot Julys, those hot neutral Julys looked like for the fall. You could see September to December 2005, 2007, 2016, 2084, 1984, 1983, 1974, and 1995. And you can see that they all had, again, hot Julys, and this is what the fall looked like. So it's kind of like what this year's fall may be similar to based on historical episodes. You can see colder across the Northwest, and maybe towards the northern U.S. some more average patches. I always do this. Spotches and patches. I combine spots and patches, and I just try saying that word. Some more near normal spots or patches, but notice generally a warm scenario across much of the United States, and especially I did this. I didn't show the composite month by month, so September, October, November, and December isn't included in this, but all those 3 months one by one I looked at. Again, not included in the slideshow, but I looked at them and I wanted to see, how they looked like each month by month. And September was the hottest, October a bit cooler, and November was right around average for much of the country. But it started off warmer and phased into cooler weather. So that being said, you could see highest chance of cooler weathers across the Northwest. Highest chance of warm weather is really much of the anywhere else really. So it looks based on this as if we're in for a warm slash hot fall, especially the beginning. Notice in terms of the precipitation, a bit wetter for the northwest, a bit drier for the southeast. Other than that, really changeable. There's not much evidence. Each year seems to be different from these historical years. So that this probably, you know, the La Nina El Nino episodes don't have as much impact on the precip as they do on the temperatures. They do have significant impact again, but not as significant. And let me remind you that La Nina and El Nino's and neutral, just the ENSO doesn't have as much of an impact on fall as it does on winter. So that kind of further lessens this perspective right here. Notice that this is the climate prediction 3-month outlook. Again, these usually tend to be biased towards the warmth, but I still want to show you that they're pretty biased this year, which I guess could indicate that it's going to be, they're pretty confident in some warmer temperatures. You could see valid September, October, November, May 18th of June. Generally warm, maybe a bit chances of cooler weather across the northwest, but anywhere in the country you're bound to see above average conditions based on the Climate Prediction Center. Now let's move forward to my forecast of temperatures. This is what I think will happen in terms of temperatures. Now notice there's quite a bit of cold air to the northwest and the northern 2/3, 1/3, 1/4 of the country. Northwestern 1/4 of the country really. I have a below average conditions. Now this is pretty optimistic for the cold. This is pretty aggressive. Now I don't think that will necessarily be this cold, but in a La Nina, if a La Nina fall does occur, you know, like it's supposed to, then we could be looking at some colder shots towards the end of winter, towards the end of fall, making it into especially the northwestern parts of the country. That's why I included the cold air. But really, much of the United States should be warmer, and that's why a bigger portion is above average. And then notice that these colors are grading in intensity from most hottest to least hottest. And in these white colors, it's kind of, it could go either way. But again, I am leaning for most likely this white color will end up being either yellow or orange rather than light blue or darker blue, as it will most likely look as if it's going to be a warmer fall this year rather than a colder fall. Now that may change, but it generally looks like that as of now. And this is my final fall 2020 outlook, not final, but the final one as of now. And you can see that I have early cold across the northwestern parts of the country and northern parts of the country. I think this could happen, you know, even as early as October. So that definitely we'll have to monitor that, especially if a La Nina winter pattern takes hold. We could see those blasts pretty consistently. We have a dry pattern across the western coast and into the southwest. Not necessarily the northwest. I think the northwest may actually be wet while the southwest stays dry, and that's because all the energy gets concentrated here rather than here. And you can see even drier across the California, Nevada, and western Arizona areas. Now we move into this huge red area. I think it's going to stay hotter across this part of the country, especially towards the beginning. You know, it's going to be hot, and obviously as it normally, you know, as the Earth axis tilts away from the sun, well, as the Earth really not tilts away, the northern hemisphere tilts away from the sun because the Earth is on axis. The temperatures are going to naturally start cooling off as they do, but it'll still be above average, I think, through at least October. Maybe starting in November, it will be a cooler month. I think this could be even more expansive than shown on here, without a doubt. Notice active tropics across the East Coast. We've already seen some active tropics, a lot of unexpected events like Tropical Storm Faye, as I'm recording this, already is developing. That was kind of unexpected, you know, not awfully strong, but I think the active tropics is definitely going to be something to watch for. And then warmer across the Northeast, and may honestly just be equally as hot as it's in this color showing. And in the average, it's kind of like the battle zone between all of these areas, but generally it will go towards either dry or hot rather than the early cold. But again, that's as of now the predictions. This may change, this may not change, but chances are it will change. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video, consider subscribing to the channel, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.